Welcome everybody who's coming in. Can we just do a quick sound check? Can you guys tell me in the chat whether you can see and hear me okay? Excellent. You can hear me. Hey, Michael. Hey, Amanda. Hi, Barbary. Super nice to meet you all. Hi, Cara. So excited that you guys could make it today, and I'm really glad that you can hear me. And we are going to have so much fun today. I'm so excited. So my name is Mia, the creative cellist. I'm also known as Marian, so don't get confused. I'll be using those kind of interchangeably. Mia is a stage name that kind of got given to me, and Marian is my birth name. So both of those, either of those, you can call me whatever you like. All right, so we're going to get started here with this presentation, this workshop, 3 powerful mind and body methods to play cello with more confidence, motivation, and creativity, and with me, Mia, the creative cellist. So let's get to know each other. Some of you are already doing that. Let's type into the chat where you're from and how long you've been playing the cello. Let's take a look at where everybody's at and what you're up to with your cello. So Kevin, hi, you're from Sacramento, California. Awesome. Peggy, how long have you guys been playing the cello? I'd love to hear. How many years? I have personally been playing the cello for 35 years. I know that gives away my age a little bit, but I've been playing for 35 years. How long have you guys been playing? 25 years, 22 years. Wow, this is amazing. You're guessing my age, Michael. 10 years, really cool. Awesome. Off and on a little over a year. Okay, that's awesome. So I'm excited to share with you these powerful tools that could help change the way that you approach your cello practice forever. But first, let's make sure that this is the right place for you. I want to make sure that you guys get the most out of this workshop as possible. So let's make sure that this is the right place for you to be. So this workshop is for you if you're a cellist who wants to practice with more motivation, if you want to play with more confidence, if you want to discover effective ways to reduce tension in your cello playing, if you want to perform with more creativity and have a musical voice, if you want to explore ideas of improvisation and playing by ear, and if you want to discover mind and body approaches to learning that are designed to help adult cellists make the most of their cello journey. All right. And this is not for you. Oops, 1 second. And this workshop is not for you if you're not a person who doesn't like to try new things. If you enjoy spending all your day in a practice room and you think you already know all there is to learning about the cellos, it's definitely not for closed-minded cellists. It's for open-minded cellists. And it's also not for you if you're not willing to invest some time into yourself and your cello playing journey. So we're going to be discovering some awesome things today. We're going to discover 3 methods. The first method is the most powerful practice tool that you can use to make progress so that you can feel more motivated. And this means if you feel more motivated when you practice, you'll be able to play music that you love faster and with more confidence. And really, who doesn't want to do that? The second method that we're going to be looking at, and this is one where if you have your cello, you can pull it out and try this. If you don't, that's okay. You can take notes later. But method number 2 is a simple and relaxing technique to create deep resonant sound on your cello that will only take 5 minutes a day, meaning that you can approach any note that you want and know the exact method to improve the way it sounds. A lot of cellists struggle with sound, and I have a really awesome method for helping you just to get into that beautiful, buttery, honey sound. And method number 3 is the #1 way to boost your confidence and creativity. And I found that this method works much better than having traditional music lessons. And this is the most surprising and important information I have to share with you. So make sure that you stick around all the way to the end so that you can hear method number 3. So as we're going through this workshop, I want to make sure that you guys get all the support that you need. So if you have any questions while we're going through all of this information, please write those questions down. You can ask them at the end in our Q&A section. And if you're not comfortable asking them in our Q&A because you don't want people to see or you want to ask something private, you can ask me in a private message by messaging me at celloyoga.ca. So if you want to write that down now so that you have it for later, that's how you can get in touch with me. So before we get started, I want us to get centered in our bodies before we dive into this information. Science shows us that our minds work much better and we absorb information much better when our bodies feel grounded. So we're going to do a little bit of grounding together. So let's try this. What I want you to do is just take a moment to arrive in your seat. So I want you to close your eyes. We're going to roll back our shoulders. Take a deep breath through your nose and let it out slowly through your mouth, rolling your shoulders back. Now, I would like you to open your eyes and notice where you are. Notice your surroundings. Notice the screen that you're looking at, but as well the environment and room that you're in. Is there anything that you need to do right now to make yourself more comfortable? For example, I have some water here. I have a blanket if I get cold. How's the volume for you? Make sure that the volume is good, that you can hear and that you can see. And you're also going to want to have a pen and paper nearby so that you can take notes. And then if you have any questions at the end, you can ask them then and have your paper in front of you. So let's just take a moment to get really comfortable and settle into this moment. Okay, so before we get started, I want to share an experience from a cellist who came to my workshop. And the last workshop that I had was in February. I'm really excited to be able to do it again. I've been so busy with my cello program that I haven't been able to do a live in a long time. So I'm really excited to be here and help you guys today. So I was so touched by what this man said. And I want to share it with you because I want you to understand how powerful this workshop can be if you commit to implementing the strategies and the methods that we're going to discuss. So this man, Francois, he wrote to me, he's from Quebec, and he's a retired professional bass player. He played for many years, and as a retired professional bass player, he wanted to take up the cello. And after our last workshop, he wrote to me, and he just wrote this beautiful letter, and it said, Mia, I have to tell you the truth. I was so inspired and motivated ever since I participated in your workshop. The focus and the determination in my playing is completely renewed. So my goal for you is that by the end of this workshop today, you're going to feel the exact same way as Francois. And my promise to you is that the information here is going to help you be a better cello player if you apply it in the specific ways that I'm going to show you. And that's why I want you to make sure that you're really settled, you're really listening, you're really grounded, you've got your pen and pencil, pen and paper, and you're ready to get started. So I just want to share with you how this workshop is going to be a little bit different to traditional cello lessons. So the information you're going to hear here is backed by scientific research in the fields of music education, in performance psychology, as well as many, many years of experience teaching and working with adult cello players. That's what I specialize in, is teaching adults. As well as I'm also a professional cello player, but as well as that, I'm a trained therapeutic yoga instructor. And some of this information that you're going to hear is also coming from that unique mind and body perspective. And we'll also explore techniques that have been proven to help cello players integrate skills faster and more effectively than with just traditional methods like taking lessons or watching YouTube videos or trying to teach yourself. So just so that you know that I'm serious about getting you these results, I have a special gift for everybody who stays to the end as a thank you for being here and listening, and also to make sure that you stay so you get all this important information. So if you stay to the end, you're going to have an opportunity. I'm going to send you all this guide that I created. It's called 6 Ways to Play Cello with Less Tension and More Focus. It's a PDF guide that's just packed with my best and favorite tools to play cello in a more relaxed way. And also, the really fun part is that we're going to have a free giveaway draw. So at the end of the workshop, you're going to have a chance to enter your name into our free draw, and you can win 2 prizes. The first prize is The first prize is a year's worth of virtual masterclasses in our Cello Yoga Masterclass series. And the second prize is a beautiful silky cello blanket to protect your precious instrument. So let me just tell you a little bit about these prizes. So the Cello Yoga Masterclass series, we started this last year. These events are VIP events with master cello teaching artists from all around the world. They normally cost $97 each time, but if you win this draw, you're going to be able to attend these for a whole year. So you're going to be able to come to 6 or 7 workshops and get access to that. And as well, here's a picture of the beautiful cello blanket that you're going to receive. The one that you might receive might be a slightly different color, but it's going to have this beautiful silky material, really gorgeous blanket. So I hope that somebody here wins that today. And you're going to need to stay until the Q&A portion of the workshop in order to enter your name in the draw. So be sure that you stick around. All right, so I don't want to bore you with too many details, but I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself so that you know that you can trust me and what I'm going to tell you today. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my background. So I earned a cello performance degree from the University of Toronto in Canada. I hold teaching certification from the Royal Conservatory of Music and the Suzuki Association of the Americas. I'm also an award-winning songwriter, improviser, and I've played as a soloist and chamber musician with many professional ensembles and orchestras. And most recently, in the past years, my passion has been starting to work with adult cello players in particular. And I lead a thriving online community of hundreds of adult cellists and educators that are dedicated to finding more mindful and joyful ways to play the cello, designed to meet the specific needs of adult cello players like you. So many of you might already be in my Facebook group, and here are some of the organizations that I've worked with. I've also attended hundreds of hours of masterclasses and spent thousands of dollars being coached by some of the world's best and top cello players. So you all know this guy. He's everybody's favorite cellist. I've met him twice in masterclasses, and he's as warm and wonderful and beautiful as people say that he is. And his ability to educate and inspire people is just monumental. So being able to have that experience with Yo-Yo Ma was incredible for me. And some of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you today actually come directly from Yo-Yo Ma's experience. And here are some of my other teachers as well. These are all top Canadian performers: Shauna Rolston, Winella Zelenka, Margaret Tabalowska, Andras Weber, and the late Don Whitten. These people have all influenced me in so many ways, and I'm so thankful for their experience. But my journey to get here as a successful cellist and educator really wasn't so easy. And I want to tell you that story so you can understand where I'm coming from. I struggled with technique and tension and performance anxiety, and maybe some of you do as well. I've struggled with these things for years before I found the methods that I'm going to share with you today. So what happened was, when I was 16, I competed in a provincial music competition, and I had this huge anxiety attack, and I had to leave the competition. And when I was 18, I auditioned for a prestigious university, not the University of Toronto, and I did not get in because my nerves completely sabotaged my performance, even though I was really well prepared. And that's something that's key to the methods that I teach, because you can be really prepared and still not be able to handle your nerves. So in my first year of music school, I was so tense. I injured my left hand, and I had to sit out of rehearsals for the majority of the first semester. And then things got even worse. So this was just such a tragic story. In my second year of university, this part isn't tragic. I had a baby, and that was wonderful. But overnight, I went from having 4 to 6 hours a day, that's how much I was practicing, to having basically no time to practice. And maybe some of you have had that experience of having time in your life where you were able to practice and then having it cut. And usually that's whether you have kids, or you start to have to look after elderly parents, or you just are really, really busy in your life. So at this time, I had no time to practice, and I had potentially a career-killing combo for any musician. I was anxious, I was tense, and I had no time to practice. So I want you to pay attention to this story, because one of the things that cellists often tell me that's holding them back is the amount of time that they have to put into their cello playing. If this sounds like you, then I want you to keep listening, because I'm about to show you why that's probably not the real problem. So I'm curious, in the chat, how many of you feel like you have some time restraints to how much time you can really spend with the cello? Let's take a look at that together. How many of you feel like time is a bit of an issue for you? Or are you able to spend as much time as you like with your cello? All right, so you can share that in the chat and we're going to go on. No, not a time. 5 kids. Wow, Amanda. 5 kids. Yes. And you had a baby, Katrina. Right. So yeah, if you've got 5 kids, you have babies at home, this is really, really difficult to do. Some of you have the time. Some of you need to come up with the time. Yeah. Wow. Inspiring stories, guys. So as a new mother, I was full of doubt and anxiety, and I knew I had to change something. Oh, I would not be able to keep playing this instrument. I would have to quit. So I began a journey to find the most effective methods to increase confidence, progress faster, and sound and feel better as a musician in a world that often didn't feel like it was very supportive to this chosen path of mine. So the methods that I discovered completely changed the way that I practice. And to be honest, if I'm really honest with you guys, it completely changed my life. So this is not just about cello playing, but just about changing your life in general. So once I began to share these methods with some of my students, they started to have these really amazing results. Yeah, so I can see some of you guys are not using your time well. You struggle with motivation. Yeah, these things can be really difficult. So from using my methods, this is one of my students. She came to me, Christy, came to me wanting to have more fun, to feel more confident playing with others. And I'm so proud because she is now confidently playing at summer camps and playing in local ensembles. And here she is bravely playing with a local ensemble. And this is Claudia, who's one of my retired students. And she came to me wanting to learn in a way that's going to respect her body as an older adult. Because some of you who are in retirement know that things can get a little bit challenging for you as you age, and you need to be able to learn, if you're learning something like the cello, which is a very athletic instrument, you need to be able to learn in a way that's going to respect your body so that you're able to play for long periods of time. And Claudia says that she loves our sessions. I've given her so much confidence, which has increased her enjoyment of playing. So that makes me super happy. And this is Andrew, and he came back to the cello after 20 years of not playing. Are any of you returning to the cello as adults, having played it as a kid? Let's chat about that. Maybe we can find some of us who played as a kid and then stopped playing and then came back. So this was Andrew. He hadn't played in 20 years and he was having a lot of issues with back tension, and he really wanted to have more fun. So once he started playing with me and working with me, he was practicing and he told me that he was having so much more fun now that he was in these sessions together. Too easy to get sucked into the internet. Yes, it's true, Kevin. It is too easy to get sucked into the internet for sure. And Amanda, you played flute as a kid. That's awesome. And cello's new. Yes. A lot of people that I work with have a background with other instruments and are coming to cello later in life. So all of these cellists have used these methods that I'm going to share with you today to greatly improve their confidence and their abilities on the cello, all while having fun doing it. And that's key, because if it's not fun, you're not going to do it. You're not going to feel motivated. So since I started sharing these mind and body methods, the positive feedback that I've got from people has been really overwhelming. I started sharing these things probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and then a whole bunch during the pandemic. And I recently started this group, Play Cello Better with Mind and Body Methods. Some of you may be a member of this group. We now have 1,000 people in this group, and we are learning together, and it's just been an amazing experience. I want to thank any of you who are here today who are in this group for making it a really fun place to be. And here are some of the dozens of online workshops that I've been doing in the last few years, as well as in-person workshops in my local community. And here are some of the happy cellists that I've been working with. So in fact, the results that the cellists are getting from these methods have been so awesome that more and more cellists online have been asking me to help them. As you can see, that group that I'm part of is just growing and growing. And so I've started to have a bit of a problem. I can only reach a small number of cello players through one-on-one lessons and workshops that I do here and there, like this one today. And honestly, the more that I discover about these methods I'm going to show you, the more I've realized that one-on-one lessons alone is not the best way for most adult cellists to learn. So I've wanted to have a bigger impact. To help more cellists benefit from these powerful methods, I created a brand new program to help adult cellists who have played for at least a year to get the results that they're looking for, and that I feel like adult cellists really deserve. A lot of us feel a little bit neglected in the musical community because so many teachers are focusing on teaching kids that sometimes us adults get a little bit left behind. So something really surprising happened after I created this program. Cellists who were having these one-on-one lessons with me or with other teachers told me that they were getting way more out of this program, learning faster than in private lessons, and they were feeling motivated and inspired and confident. And that just made me so happy and made me want to share this with as many people as possible, just like you guys who are here today. So I'd love to tell you more about this exciting program, but first, let me show you how I found this life-changing path. So we're going to go through the steps that I took, and this has helped me and so many other cellists to finally play this beautiful music that we've always dreamed of. So if you remember, I told you how I was just kind of an average cello student, suffering from anxiety and tension. I had no time to practice, and a lot of my performances were going pretty badly. So in my third year of music school, my professor told me that she thought I shouldn't return for my final year. And as you can imagine, for any musician, this is a really devastating thing to hear from somebody that you respect and somebody whose opinion you really value. And that was when I knew I had to change something, because the sadness in my heart was just too much. And I was just thinking to myself, I really need to do something about this. So I began to imagine a different future for myself. And what I'd like to do now, we're going to take a moment together to imagine our cello future. So what I'd like you to do is I want you to close your eyes, and we're going to imagine a few things together. I want you to imagine playing your cello with a deep sense of control and confidence. And if you're thinking to yourself, that little voice in your head is thinking, there's no way I can do that, just let that voice go. You're playing the cello with a deep sense of control and confidence. You're creating a beautiful sound. So whatever that means to you, whether that's a buttery sound, a honey sound, whatever sound you want to create on your cello. You've eliminated any tension and pain from your playing. So some of you may struggle with tension and pain in your body. We're just going to let that go. You're an expressive and musical being, and you fundamentally understand the mechanics of the cello and how it works. And one of the things that I envisioned for myself in the future was being my own best teacher. And that's now a goal for me and my students, that you become your own best teacher so you can trust yourself and trust your musical instincts. Okay, so let's open up our eyes. And I'll tell you that I didn't think this was possible, but I imagined all of this, and despite my doubts, I wrote down on a piece of paper that I was going to accomplish these goals within 1 year. I gave myself 1 year to do these things that I wanted to do. So I want you to pay attention to that 1 year that it took me to reach my goals, because I often hear adult cellists in particular say that they think it's going to take them a lifetime to achieve their musical goals. And while we do continue to learn throughout our life, it's not necessary to take that much time to get to where you want to be if you know the right steps to take. And as an adult, it is not too late. So guess what? Within a year, I reached my goals. So this is me on the radio during my first cross-Canada tour. I released an independent album of music that included and featured me on the cello 1 year after I graduated. And this album was nominated for a Toronto Independent Award, and it received full funding from Factor Canada. So things really turned around for me. In that same year, I played a concerto, a Vivaldi concerto with a professional orchestra. And since then, I've been hired to play with world-class bands, filmmakers, orchestras, and musicians of all genres, as well as pursuing a successful career as a teaching artist. And yes, I did graduate from that program, from my music degree program, even though my teacher told me that I should quit. So here I am playing in all kinds of different ensembles. Here's my studio of kids that I teach before I was teaching adults. So I believe that with the right mindset, these methods can work for any cellist in a short period of time, just like they did for me. But you're going to need to let go of some of these old ideas you have about how to learn the cello and these ideas that have not been working for you. And you need to be ready to embrace a pretty different way of thinking about the cello. So let me know in the chat, are you ready to get into it and to start thinking about your cello playing in a different way and to get some new perspectives on that? Let me know in the chat. Let's do it. Yeah, Jared, awesome. Thank you. Yes, Peggy. Hi, Peggy. Good to see you, Amanda. Awesome. I love the smiley face, Kevin. That's wicked. Okay, let's get into this. So here we are. Get your paper, get your pen. You're going to need to take some notes and really get yourself grounded. So the most powerful practice tool to make rapid progress so that you can feel more motivated. This is so important. So many of you struggle with motivation, so that you can feel more motivated. And when you're more motivated, you'll be able to play music you love sooner and with way more confidence. And you're going to be able to play things you didn't think that you could play right now. So if you remember, I told you that after my baby was born, I went from having 4 to 6 hours a day, leisurely practicing this and that, whatever. And then I had less than 1 hour a day. In fact, sometimes it was like half an hour a day. And I had to graduate from a really prestigious university and a music program. And I had to figure out how I was going to do that. So if you remember, my professor told me that I should quit. So like most people, she thought I wasn't going to be able to successfully reach these goals without dedicating countless hours to practice. And I simply didn't have those hours. I had maybe an hour. So at the same time, I feel so lucky because at the same time, I had another mentor and her name was Winona Zelenka. And she's one of Canada's most celebrated cellists. She was principal cellist of the Toronto Symphony for a number of years. When I met her, she was the assistant principal. So I came to Winona in tears, thinking that my career was over, but she said something to me that I'm never going to forget and that I am eternally grateful for because I would have quit otherwise. Instead of telling me to quit, what she said was, Marian, and that's my other name, Marian, you need to learn to practice as efficiently as possible. At the time, Winona had 2 small children, like under 7, and she was the assistant principal cellist at the Toronto Symphony. She would go on to become the principal cellist in later years. And in that conversation, she told me that after her children were born, and some of you are in this position, she rarely had more than 90 minutes a day to practice, and that was really pushing it. Sometimes it was an hour, sometimes it was 30 minutes. And yet, during that period of time, she was promoted to assistant principal. So something was going on there with Winona. So what I learned that day from Winona changed my mindset about the biggest myth that people believe about music. So most cellists, most musicians believe that you have to spend countless hours a day. You've probably heard all the stories of Yo-Yo Ma practicing 6-8 hours a day and all these professionals practicing all this time. And that's when us amateurs feel like, or you amateurs feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to do this. I don't have that time. But the truth is you don't need that time, not that much time, not even close. So that's a myth. Learning to practice efficiently helps you to progress faster. And when you progress faster, you sound better. And when you sound better, you feel motivated. This is where your motivation comes from. So anybody who struggles with motivation, you struggle with motivation often because you don't think you sound good. And you don't sound good because you haven't figured out how to practice well. So even if you have a small amount of time to practice, this can still work for you. So in psychology, the name for this process is a positive feedback loop. And it's the most powerful tool for achieving your musical goals. Essentially, When you make good sound, you're going to feel motivated, you're going to want to practice more, and you're going to start to make that time in your life in order for your music and your cello to fit in. So the best part about this is a simple tool. This is a simple tool that anyone can implement. You can use this tool today. It doesn't matter how long you've been playing the cello or how little time that you have to practice. So now you might be wondering, okay, fine, but how? How do I practice more efficiently? And that's always a question that I get from people. And lucky for you, I have the answer for you today. So after Winona told me I needed to be more efficient, she taught me exactly how. So the number one tool that Winona and other super busy top performers in music and in all areas of life, this is not just music, this is anything that you want to achieve excellence in. So the tool that they're using is something called 1-point practice. So 1-point practice, we're going to get into exactly what this is. 1-point practice is the art and science of setting laser-focused intentions. So very, very focused intentions for each moment in your practice so that you can easily build technical and musical mastery without becoming overwhelmed and without getting distracted. So let's get real right now. In the chat, tell me, when you're practicing, who experiences distraction and overwhelming feelings in your practice? And how often? For me, this used to be all the time. Do you experience this feeling of, okay, I'm kind of done, I'm distracted now? Every practice. Yes, Kevin. Yes, Amanda. Yes, this happened. Feeling wandering mind 50% of the time, all the time. Yes, it's very normal. It's very human. So don't worry. You get frustrated with intonation. Yep, for sure. This happens for sure. And I want to help you to overcome this because it can be overcome. You might not think it because it is such a human thing to get overwhelmed with all the things we need to learn. But here is how we can fix it. Let me tell you where this comes from. Too many things to practice. Yeah, okay. So where does this method of 1-point practice come from? Because this is your remedy. This is your cure to the problems that you're having here. So setting mindful intentions is an ancient wisdom practice, and it was first mastered by Buddhist monks. We do have our own, in the West, we do have our own traditions of doing this as well, but mindfulness, mindful intentions comes from Buddhism, and it was brought to the West through the practice of yoga. And this was happening like in the 60s and 70s, roughly around that time. So here is a Buddhist monk looking into what I call the focal point. The focal point of Buddhism is to find your one point as you're meditating. So the author of the famous book, The Celestine Prophecy, which some of you might have read, is the idea that where attention goes, energy flows, and where intention goes, energy flows. And what that means for you, what this brilliant author means here, is that making joyful and satisfying progress in any area of your life that you choose relies on your ability to focus on the present moment and your one goal in that moment, rather than worrying about the past, what has happened, or what you have to achieve in the future. Now, of course, this is easier said than done, but it is the most powerful tool and the only tool really you have to make that progress without that feeling of overwhelm. So in 1-point practice, it harnesses, the idea of 1-point practice harnesses this ancient wisdom to get cello players of any age, it doesn't matter what age you are, get you incredible results in the least time possible. So here are a few ways that you can implement 1-point practice, and we're going to workshop a couple of these things together after we go through this list. So one way you could implement 1-point practice in your practice is when you're practicing to pay attention to only the quality of your sound. So that means that you allow the notes and the rhythm to go away. You just think about the beautiful sound that you're making and the steps you need to create that beautiful sound. You can put your sheet music away. Sheet music can be so distracting. Just let yourself play your instrument and get in touch with it and feel what it feels like to really play that instrument. You can clap a rhythm of one small piece of a song. If you're having trouble with a rhythm, don't try putting all the notes together with your instrument. Just clap that rhythm until it's really solid, and then you can put it together with other aspects. Or you can sit down and put your whole attention into listening to a recording of a great player play the music that you want to play. And that really is a super powerful tool that I learned as a Suzuki instructor. The more that you listen, the less you have to practice. And that's a 1-point practice tool that the Suzuki method knows really, really well. So what I'd like to do here, after we go through a couple of other things, is we're going to workshop this together. So first of all, though, how do we know that 1-point practice works? So we know this because scientists, modern scientists, and ancient wisdom, so Buddhism and all of these practices of mindfulness, they agree. We've had this knowledge in our human database for thousands of years. So scientists now have that evidence to show that our brains are not capable of paying attention to two things at the same time. So what might look like multitasking, so when we're practicing, a lot of us are multitasking, right? We're thinking good sound, good intonation, rhythm, all this stuff. What's actually happening in your brain when you're doing that is your brain is switching back and forth between these tasks. And what that does is it reduces your productivity and increases your mistakes by up to 50%. So those of you say, yeah, you have too many things to practice. Well, the issue there is that you are practicing too many things. So we need to separate all those things. So this is a letter from one of the people that I've been working with, and she wrote to me to say, thank you for your emphasis on 1-point practice. As a way, I was always multitasking and trying to do too many things. And as a result, nothing was sounding better. And I was experiencing a lot of frustration. Now I focus on one thing at a time, and I'm learning music much faster. So Kara says, you're distracted by judgmental internal voices. Yes, that can be a big problem and something that we also need to have strategies to handle. Yeah. So if you're a person who multitasks during practice, you need to start using this 1-point practice method. So we'll cover more in a second, but before we move on, let's take a moment. So I want you to get your pen out, take a moment to think, and you're going to write it down for yourself and then also share it in the chat. So let's take a moment to think about your own practice, your own cello practice, and what you can do in your next cello session to implement this idea of 1-point practice. So how can you focus your intention in order to get more results while allowing other things to go by? And let's share those. So take a little minute, we'll just take a break and just write those down and then put them in the chat. Getting quality sound from the bow. Yes, Kevin. Yes, for sure. So you can just forget about the left hand and just play that bow, right? Just play back and forth, listening and getting good quality sound, for sure. You can break that down into even smaller focused intentions if you start to think about it, because making a quality sound actually has many steps involved, but you can, that's definitely one way to break it down. You could break it down further. Does anyone else have something that they can do in their next practice in order to focus their intention? So don't force the bow on the strings. Right, so you can think about lightening up your bow, cross string bowing, focus, right? Yes, lots of great ideas, not squeezing as hard. Good, right. So these are things that you can essentially set as an intention for your whole practice session. Yes, very nice. Excellent. Okay, so yeah, write those things down for yourself, because you're going to do this in your next practice. You are going to take your focused intention, and that's going to be your intention for your practice session. So here's a way to make this method work even better for you, because a focused intention, if you set that intention and you try to hold it for, let's say, an hour of practice, you are going to get distracted. That is just so human for that to happen. So if you really want to make this method work for you, it's best to come up with 4 or 5 focused intentions for a practice session. And then what you do is you cycle through these intentions within your practice so that you can avoid boredom and fatigue, because we get bored focusing. That's the problem with focus. It takes a lot of brain power to keep focusing on one thing. So in order for us to not multitask, but also get the power of focus, we can switch our focus intentionally throughout our practice. So while you're thinking about this and you're thinking about your practice, think of some other ways that you can also focus, put them in a list, and then when you're practicing, you can cycle through those focused intentions. So it's been shown that humans can only really focus on one specific task for up to 20 minutes at a time. So even the most focused of you guys out there are not going to be able to hold a focused intention for much longer than that. So if your intention is to practice for 1 hour, you're going to need at least 3 focused intentions for that session. And honestly, I would probably use about 4 or 5. All right, so we've already shared some of our focused intentions. So let's get on to method number 2. Method number 2, I just love. If you have your cello nearby, you can grab your cello, because we're going to be using our cello for this. I'm going to guide you through some things. So this is a simple and relaxing technique to create deep and resonant sound that only takes 5 minutes a day. I want to save you guys some time. If you're working on beautiful sound, you can do this in 5 minutes a day. So when I first arrived at music school, I was accepted into a general music year, but I wasn't yet skilled enough to enter the performance program. It was a very elite performance program at U of T, and you had to be at a really high level. And so I was put on this probationary period. During that time, something happened that not only helped me to ace my audition at the end of the year, but it also earned me a compliment from one of my professors that he'd never heard a student improve so fast in 1 year. So you might be thinking that this was because I practiced a lot. And while I did practice, one incredible discovery blew the rest of my practice efforts out of the water. And I'm going to share that with you. So as a young person living in a big city, I opened myself up to every possible experience. I came from a tiny little town in Northern Ontario, and all of a sudden I was in Toronto, and it was just like my mind was just blown open. So one of those experiences was visiting a traditional yoga center for the first time. I had never been to a yoga center. I didn't know what they were about. I didn't know what was going to go on there, but I was really curious. A friend of mine encouraged me to go to this class. It was a very strict and traditional practice. So if any of you have ever taken yoga classes, you'll know that there's all kinds of different classes. You can go to super strict ones. Some of them are much, much lighter, but this was one of these really strict traditional practices. You had to hold these super difficult poses, and it was 90 minutes long. But what was happening before each pose was that we were prompted to breathe in very specific and rhythmic ways. And when we did this, it helped us to be able to move through these poses with much greater ease. And I was just blown away by this idea. So afterwards, I felt tired, I felt sore, but I was totally in awe and transformed by this idea of the things that I found myself able to do that I didn't think I could do before physically. So inspired by this practice, I began to experiment with the idea of musical yoga. So my idea was to combine some of those focused physical intentions like we had before. Let's say, you might be focusing on creating good tone with your arm. So those intentions that I had learned from Winona, and then combining those with breathing patterns that I was learning in yoga and meditation classes, things like square breathing and therapeutic breathing, all these different breathing patterns. So what I did was I began playing long, open string bows for 5 minutes a day. So it wasn't just like trying to make better sound. I was combining it with breathing exercises, combining different breathing patterns with the rhythmic movement of my bow. So the result here, it was just astounding. I can't even tell you how fast I improved my sound. So the result was that I had a deep connection between my body and the sound that I was producing on my cello. It's like we kind of became one, not to get too spiritual about it, but I felt like the cello became part of my body. And not only that, but the tension and the uncertainty in my sound almost totally disappeared. My sound was confident, it was creative, it was unique. And the crazy thing about this was that I really didn't have to try. It was just kind of happening quickly and effortlessly. So after just a few weeks of doing this, I was creating this beautiful resonant sound with very little effort. And this sound was the sound that inspired my professor to say that he had never heard anyone improve so fast in 1 year. So what was the key to creating that buttery, effortless sound? The key was these long bow meditations. Now, I've seen some of you talk about how you like to practice long bows, but a long bow meditation is something a little bit different. So a long bow meditation is the practice of syncing up the speed of your bow, right? So you've got your bow and it's going across the string, and syncing that up with the rhythm of your breathing. So inhaling and exhaling with the bow as you move back and forth. If you have your cello now, let's grab your cello. If you don't, that's totally fine, but I'm going to guide you through a version of what I find is a deeply soothing and relaxing experience. At first, it may not be deeply soothing and relaxing because it might be new to you. But if you do this after a time, you're going to feel like just this sense of oneness with your cello. So if you don't have your cello, don't worry, we can try this later. So step one, what you're going to do is you're going to take your cello and you're just going to sit with it and brace it in a big hug. Just embrace the front of your cello. Take a deep breath in through your nose. 2, 3, 4, and now hold your breath. 2, 3, 4, and now exhale through your mouth, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold. 2, 3, 4, and allow your shoulders to roll back. So as you're holding the cello, you're embracing the cello, but your shoulders and neck are rolling back and soft. Okay, we're going to do this one more time. So embrace your cello in a big hug. Take a deep breath through your nose. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have our cello. We're feeling nice and cozy. This is what we just did here is called square breathing, for those of you who are not familiar. In yoga, square breathing is a powerful way to reduce tension, slow down your breathing, and get control of your mind and your body. And this is really what we need for cello playing. We need to get control of our mind and our body so that they can communicate properly. So the next step then is you're going to take your bow. So take your bow, you're going to put it on the D string at the frog of the bow. So just let it sit on the string. And again, we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then hold for 4. So let's do this together. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. As you exhale, notice your bow sinking deeper into the string. If that is not happening for you, you're not feeling a sinking, allow your wrist to just relax. Relax your wrist and relax your arm. Okay, and you can try this again later and repeat it, but let's go on to step 3. So in step 3, what we're going to do on the next exhale, we're going to play a downbeat for a count of 4. So you're going to use the whole bow, counting and breathing at the same time. So let's put our bows on the D string at the frog. We're going to inhale, don't play yet. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and play. 2, 3, 4. And by the time you get to 4, you should be right at the tip of your bow. Okay, so that's step number 3. And step number 4, we're going to combine your exhales with down bows, and your inhales with up bows. So be sure again to use the entire bow if possible on the D string, because that's usually the easiest string. If you have another string that you find easy, go for that. But the D string for most people is easiest. So we're going to start. We're going to inhale for 4, hold for 4, then exhale. Okay, so inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, play, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and inhale, 2, 3, 4. So by doing this just a few times over and over, you're going to start to feel a real connection to your instrument. At first, it might feel a little bit awkward. It takes some time to get used to the counting and the square breathing. But if you try this and you do it every day for 5 minutes, I promise you, by the end of a month of doing this, you are going to feel so comfortable and you're just going to be making this beautiful sound. So I'd love to hear the results from you guys of trying that. If you want to share them in the chat now or after a few weeks, you can write to me and let me know how this is going for you. Okay, so at first, like I said, this can feel kind of awkward, but with practice, the relationship between your bow and your breath will become stronger, and you're going to start to hear a significant difference in the quality of your sound and the way that you play. So this is just one example of long bow. This is low bow, long bow meditations. I encourage you to come up with your own ideas, combining different speeds and counts of breath with the movement of your bow. So you can try it to a count of 3. You can try it with fast breathing or slow breathing. Are we playing on the breath or on the holds? Yes, so you're playing on the breath. Yeah, good question. So you play, when you exhale, you play your down bow, and then you hold. And then when you do your inhale, you play. Yes, exactly. That's just one version of this, because you can also do it in many other ways. But for this version, you play while you're breathing. Yeah, good question, Michael. So here's some results. So Cara is a cellist I work with who was experiencing a lot of tensions and problems with her sound. And she wrote to me after practicing these long moment meditations to tell me, before I felt obligated to practice in order to maintain technique, and this seemed to really bring tension to my practice. Even before I begun practicing, I now find myself wanting to practice for the relaxation and meditative qualities that these methods have introduced. And that makes me so happy when I can get a cellist who is feeling kind of uneasy about their cello playing and not motivated, and get them to a place where they're feeling confident and calm and making beautiful sound. That just makes me the happiest cello coach ever. And the science supports Cara's results as well, which is so cool because I love science. So a Harvard doctor writes, there's a very direct relationship between your breath rate, your mood state, and your autonomic nervous system. And this is from a PhD assistant professor of medicine who studies yoga and meditation and the effects of yoga and meditation on people and their performance in particular. So what this means is that an added benefit of doing these long bow meditations is not only better sound, because it's clearly going to get you better sound and bow control, but you're going to have this overall better sense of well-being and focus. And that's going to help you in every aspect of your playing and even in your life as well, which is why I say that these methods not only changed my cello playing, but they also changed my life. So are you ready for method number 3? Let's put that in the chat if you're ready for method number 3. Yes, Kevin, that's right. Inhale for 4, down bow, hold for 4, yes, that's correct. I'm going to send everybody a little short video that you can play along to afterwards. So don't worry if you didn't quite get that now. I'll send that out to you all. So if you're ready for method number 3, let me know. Thanks, Jerry. Cool. Awesome. Cool cats. And let's move on. Okay, so this method is possibly the most important tool I have to give you. So listen up. It's going to help to increase your confidence as a cello player. And just like anything in life, if you have confidence, you're going to be better. So if you need to, because we've been kind of at this for a moment, let's just take a moment to stand up, stretch your legs, move your body. Just get yourself refocused. Take some deep breaths before we go into method number 3. Okay, so don't forget to stick around because at the end, I'm going to be giving you guys all a free gift and you're going to be entered into our draw. And I also have a really cool special offer for you for people who stayed for this whole session today. So make sure that you stick around. So method number 3, this is my number 1 way to boost your confidence and your creativity as a cellist. So if you remember that competition that I told you about that I had to leave because I was so nervous I couldn't perform, that was a super embarrassing moment in my life. I've had a few of them. I've had to get back on the horse a few times. So, however, a week before I had won another competition. So I was like, I had this really strange relationship with competitions because in that competition, I got the highest mark of anyone that year. And then the next competition, I had to drop out due to anxiety. So for a long time, this inconsistent performing was really my thing. Sometimes I would do great. And I don't know if any of you have had this experience. Some days you're just on and you're in the zone. And then other times I would just fall apart. And obviously, as a professional musician, you don't want this to be happening because you need to be consistent. So I thought that this problem was in my head, right? I had a diagnosed anxiety disorder, and it made sense that this would be affecting my performances. But there was something about this that didn't quite make sense. It didn't sit right with me. There were times when I was feeling intensely nervous, very, very nervous in my body, and I could feel it, but I still performed well. So I could actually perform really, really well under a lot of nerves and a lot of pressure. And then there were also these times when I felt okay, but I totally bombed the performance. So it appeared to me that there wasn't a connection between how I was feeling per se in my body and how I played. So then something happened that changed my life forever. So I suffered a tension-related injury in my left hand, in my pinky specifically, and this forced me to stop playing for a whole month. This was while I was in university. I wasn't able to play. And while I was hanging out around school, feeling sorry for myself, I met a group of jazz musicians. And this group of jazz musicians, I started listening to them when they were jamming. In the University of Toronto, there was a very large classical program and a smaller jazz program. And I was so fascinated and interested by what these jazz players were doing. I immediately noticed something really different about the way that these jazz musicians interacted with each other compared to people who were playing in the classical program. It was like there was a night and day difference. I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but let me tell you about it. So I noticed when these guys played together that they looked and sounded relaxed. They were not afraid to share with each other. They weren't afraid to experiment. And they weren't afraid to make mistakes. They didn't correct each other constantly, but instead they asked each other questions, and they were really, really curious about sound and texture and the art of making music. So one thing that I noticed was how natural and authentic they all sounded. They weren't all trying to sound like each other. They all had their unique voice. And the mistakes that they made were often celebrated as opportunities to learn or find new harmonies and textures in the music. And this was really eye-opening for me. This was very different to my training and the culture of classical music, where I had been taught to critically analyze every note. And some of you may have had that experience. Let me know if you have that critical voice inside your head that tells you, oh, this isn't sounding very good. I had to make it better. Michael, can you give me an example of a question you heard? Yeah, so for example, Michael, here's a question. So a trumpeter was playing and he cacked a note. So when trumpeters play, they can sometimes like blow the note out and it doesn't come out the way that they expected it to. And if that was a classical trumpeter, everybody would look at him and give him a face, right? But a jazz musician turned to him and said, that's really cool. Do you think you can do that in the next verse? Right? So he heard this sound and thought to himself, wow, cool. Right? Instead of, oh my God, that's wrong. So that's an example of the questions that I was hearing from these people. They were curious about sound. They were curious about how it was made, as opposed to this is how it should sound, which is a classical thing that often goes on. So as I spent more time with these musicians and my hand was healing, one of them invited me to play in an informal jazz session of about 12 players of all different instruments. So at first I was scared and self-conscious. Of course, I don't play jazz. I felt like I had nothing to contribute to this group. And after a time, though, I started to add notes here and there, and there was just this big and beautiful sound. And that's when I noticed something really wonderful. For the first time, my body relaxed and I found myself able to play technically demanding patterns with clear and beautiful tone. So here's the thing. Yes, so Jerry, classical Baroque is very integrated and precise. Perfection helps. Absolutely. And I agree. So this is what was happening here, though, because when I was playing jazz or jamming, it allowed me the space to experiment with what I could actually accomplish. So what happened was I ended up being able to play more technically demanding things because I was no longer concerned what other people thought. So it was a mindset. I totally agree. You have to have very, very precise precision for classical and Baroque music, for sure. So it came out of this confidence that I was developing. So what happened was that the support and community that I felt among jazzers and their culture of accepting mistakes and allowed me basically to find my confidence. And so once I found my confidence, I was able to transfer that to my classical playing as well, right? And I really created this own unique creative voice. So now I'm able to play free jazz, I'm able to play pop, I'm able to play metal, I can play classical music, and I have a confidence in all of those genres. So I essentially learned that the fundamental rule of improvising, and the fundamental rule of improvising is something that helped me paradoxically to be a better classical player as well. So the fundamental rule of improvising is that there's no such thing as a wrong note. There's only creative decisions about how you play. And this idea was revolutionary to me. It made me feel more free as a musician and made me able to play more technically as well. So after that, I made it my mission to play with as many creative and improvising musicians as possible. As I spent less time practicing alone and more time improvising, I started to get more compliments from my peers on my expressive and creative sound, as well as my technical ability. Baroque music, Jerry, just to get back to that, Baroque music was actually a music that was born in improvisation. So if you have improv skills, they tend to help you play Baroque music as well. So there was also a bonus effect. The tension, the pain, and the nervousness that I had been experiencing since childhood began to disappear. So that's how I learned the secret to playing with confidence, even if you're a nervous performer. The key to being cool, calm, and confident in any musical situation is to discover and create music within a community of supportive and musically adventurous peers. So you need to be amongst people who are not criticizing, but people who are supporting. Now, inside a supportive community, you can still have excellence and you can still have goals, but there's a different focus. The focus is curiosity as opposed to criticizing. So in fact, finding your people and meeting with them a few times a week is probably the single most important thing you can do if you want to sustain your motivation and passion and work through your roadblocks as a cellist and musician. If you're learning the old way, which is alone with a teacher, doing tons of studies and scales, which isn't a bad way to learn, you're going to make progress, of course, but you won't be connecting to that larger world of music making. And that's the key to unlocking a lifetime of appreciation and musical joy, is connecting to community. So Christy, she's one of the cellists that I've worked with for quite a long time now. She joined my earliest Facebook group. She then came to a workshop like this, and she signed up for one of my first online programs. And she's since gone on to join my growing community of adult cellists who meet weekly to learn and improvise and play together. And this is Christy in our ensemble. When we first started out, there was just a few members. We now have a lot more members. And she wrote to me after she had been in this ensemble for a while to say, it's great to be able to connect with others and play in an ensemble group. We don't have many amateur groups where I am in this area, so I definitely appreciate this opportunity. In jazz, if you're playing a wrong note, it's a half step away from a right note. Yes, that's true, Jerry. And I would argue in classical music, that's kind of true as well, but you have to get into the right mindset. And this is Pam, who's another member of my online ensemble. When she joined us, she had never improvised before, and now she's just loving it. She's learning all about different scales and different patterns and having a really great time. So members of our community have reported that they've been making much faster progress and having a lot more fun working together than when they just had a private teacher or when they were trying to learn on their own, or from YouTube videos, which a lot of people also try to do. So science, again, back to science, because I want to show you things that are really rooted in evidence-based research in education. So science shows us why group learning is better than learning alone. So working with others enables you to pool your ideas and to see problems from different perspectives. It's the reason that master classes and mastermind programs are so effective. In a group situation, you can attempt tasks that couldn't be accomplished by an individual, and you can combine a variety of skills and expertise to tackle more complex and larger scale problems. Some of the moments in university that were the most powerful for me were when we got to have master classes with people like Yo-Yo Ma, or people from famous quartets that would come and work with us, because we were just able to work together and share ideas. And this is a really interesting study that I read. It was discovered that the positive results of group learning were felt even when people reported that they didn't think that they were learning anything in the group. So people would come into a group and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm not learning anything. But test after test, those who participated in these active workshops and the well-organized group experience outperformed those who were trying to learn alone. Is that why the Suzuki method of teaching works? Yes, that's definitely one of the reasons that the Suzuki method of teaching works, because it's called, Suzuki method is what's called the mother tongue method. And the idea is that you immerse yourself in a culture of music, and babies come to Suzuki classes. And you have all different levels all together. So the younger ones learn from the older ones, and the older ones learn how to tutor and mentor those who are coming up through the program. So that's why it works super effectively. And it's also creating a community around music so that people can work on it together. So if you want to take your cello playing to the next level and feel more confident, you want to be sure to play and learn with a group of like-minded people who can support and inspire you on your journey. So let's just kind of recap what we've learned. So we've learned 3 methods. The first method we learned was the 1-point practice, the most powerful practice tool to make rapid progress, so that you can feel motivated to progress, is to implement 1-point practice. Get super focused and specific. So in 1-point practice, you eliminate confusion while improving your motivation and focus. You stop multitasking so you can dedicate 100% of your brain to one musical task at a time. And you set mindful intentions, maybe 4 or 5 of them for each practice session, so that you can have laser focus while you work towards your goals. Method number 2, a simple and relaxing technique to create deep and resonant sounds that only takes 5 minutes a day, is longbow meditation. So in longbow meditation, you practice longbow meditations every day for 5 minutes so that you can deeply connect with the sound of your instrument. And I will send you all a video of what we did today so that you can play along and get the benefits of that longbow meditation. And in longbow meditation, you use yogic and rhythmic breathing practice to reduce the tension and improve your sound overall. And in method 3, the number 1 way to boost your confidence and creativity that's way faster than private lessons is to discover and create music within a community of supportive and musically adventurous peers. You can learn and play with others in a group setting so that you can benefit from quicker solutions to your problems. You can practice improvisation to free your mind from the rules that you might have learned and to discover your own unique creative voice. And you can seek out a supportive environment of cellists to bolster your confidence and give you more opportunities to perform. So now that you understand the exact steps that you need to take to get the results that you want, and I've also shown you how you can quickly achieve your goals using these powerful mind and body tools, I want to ask you all a question. And the question is, are you enjoying this experience so far? If yes, can you write that in the chat and tell me what you've learned or what you've enjoyed so far. Let's just take a moment to do that. And I'm going to have a sip of water. Long bow meditation. Yes. Long bow meditation. Yes, it's so helpful, Anna. I know. Anybody else? Reminder of things I know but forget to do. Yes, and that's the thing about focused intention. It can be very, it's something you need to come back to. Yes, the long bow meditations. Excellent. Supportive attitude. Yes. Coaching, having a coach by your side, Michael, is so important to keep, to keep at it, to get back on that horse. Yes. Jazz. You want to learn more about jazz? Don't worry about the mistakes. That's right. Good. Yeah, I love this, guys. So have you found this workshop valuable? It looks like you guys are getting some great ideas from this. Awesome. And do you feel you are more comfortable on what you can do to become a more confident, motivated, and creative cellist than before you joined? Do you have some ideas of your own that you might like to implement into your next practice? Yes, awesome, Barbary. And yes, have you come up with some ideas that you feel excited about? If you have an idea of something that you're going to do, an action that you're going to take, let's put that in the chat. What are you going to do differently in your practice moving forward? What are you going to do for yourself and your cello? So is it fair to say that using these methods will help you to get to your cello goals faster and have more fun than if you hadn't attended today? Do you feel more motivated? And overall, are you happy that you attended? Thanks, Peggy. Yes, awesome. Yes, great, Helen. Thank you. So you could take what I shared with you today and use that to change your cello life for the better. And I have confidence that even after this short time together, you now understand a way to help you feel more motivated, to play with better sound, and have more confidence than you previously didn't think about before. And if doing this on your own after we leave today was your only option, that would be a worthy pursuit. But what if I told you that there was another option that allowed me to serve you at the highest level that you deserve? As adult cellists, I feel like you all deserve this, to get to your goals with support and the correct guidance that you need. If I had an option for you, would you like to hear about it and what this could do for you? Would you like to hear what I have to offer for you guys? Yes, awesome, Kevin. Yes, Edward, yes. Okay, Shirley, awesome. All right, let's do this. Okay, so it's with great excitement. I'm really excited to share this with you because this has been a powerful experience that I've been able to have with adult cellists just like you for the last year, and now we're moving into our second year. So I want to introduce to you the Cello Yoga Mastermind and Ensemble for Adult Cellists. This is my baby, my passion, my love, and I get to combine all the things that I love: adult cello players, music, mindfulness, all these wonderful things. So the concepts I have shown you today only scratch the surface of the mind and body methods we can implement to improve your cello playing rapidly and have more fun doing it. So let's talk about who this program is designed for. So this program is specifically designed for adult cellists who want to feel motivated, inspired, and supported every day on your cello journey. And every day is key because we might have a teacher, but we only see them once a week. This program supports you every day. If you want to discover research-based ways to practice more efficiently, and if you want to let go of inefficient methods that have been holding you back, it's also for cellists who are ready to invest time into their passion, who want to collaborate with a community of supportive peers, who want expert advice on a continuous basis, not just at private lessons, and cellists who want to have more fun in general in their lives. And this is not for people who want to practice alone all the time and don't like new people. It's not for people who aren't open to new perspectives, and it's not for people who aren't ready to commit some time. You don't need a huge amount of time, but you need to be ready to commit some time, because that's how you get results, with some time. Remember, I said it's not 4 to 6 hours a day, just a little bit. So I just want to go briefly over the phases of this program and what you would get if you were to join us. So briefly, this membership program is a 1-year VIP program only for adult cellists who are ready to get serious about getting results in the most effective way possible. We have 7 phases and it's growing. In the 7 phases, we discover concepts in mindful cello playing so that you can play with more focus, flexibility, more effectively than with traditional methods of learning, like private lessons or self-study, which means that you can reach your musical goals faster. In phase 2, we develop personalized and customized strategies for consistent and effective practice routines so that you can have a proven method to get you where you want to go in your playing in the most effective way possible. In phase 3, we're going to take a deep dive into the tools you need to develop confidence, handle performance anxiety, using the most effective and cutting-edge tools backed by educational science so that your nerves will no longer get in the way of you expressing yourself with your full creative power. And in phase 4, we explore and refine your own musical voice so that you can express your musical creativity in a way that's truly your own, so that you can leave your creative mark on the world. In phase 5, we do a technical deep dive strategy for better sound production. So longbow meditations are just the tip of the iceberg. We explore the necessary components of right hand, left hand mastery so that you can have total control over your instrument no matter what level you're at. And this means that you can enjoy playing and performing without the stress or worry of sounding bad. No matter what level you're at, you can have beautiful sound. And in phase 6, we explore the world of cello playing in different genres through expert-led guest workshops. These are our Cello Yoga Mastermind Masterclass series with some of the world's best teaching artists. So normally these guest masterclasses are $100 each, but you get this when you join us in the program. And you're going to discover all the wonders of playing the cello in different genres, from blues to Celtic to classical to gypsy swing, all kinds of cellos. We've had so much fun with our guest artists coming in to work with our program and our cellists. And in phase 7, you're going to discover how to play and work effectively with others. This is a super important part of being a musician, how to collaborate in masterminds and learning about the secrets of professional ensemble playing so that you can play confidently in any group. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in and you want to skyrocket your cello progress and get those results you're looking for, I have some great news, because in the next 7 days, I've set aside some time to talk to you guys. So what you can do, if you would like to chat with me and let's have a little strategy session, you can go straight to cellogo.com and book a call with me today. Let me tell you a little bit about what we would do in this call so you have an idea of what to expect. So what we would do, so roughly, these calls are about 45 minutes. And what we would do is we're going to map out an exact action plan for you to follow so that you can feel confident, motivated, and start to produce that amazing sound and have the skills that you've been looking for this year. So right now, you can get started. I'm going to help you with that. In order to help you, I have to talk to you, though. So you need to book a call so that we can chat. And you're going to find on this booking page, there's a calendar to book a time. I have been told by some people that sometimes they have trouble with this calendar. It sometimes doesn't rotate properly on their tablets or whatever they're working on. So if you have any trouble at all booking a call with me, don't hesitate to reach out. You can just reach out by email, mia@celloyoga.ca, and we can have a chat that way. We can set up a manual call. So don't worry if the booking page doesn't work for you, but do try it. It's the easiest way for us to get in touch with each other. And on this strategy call, this is what we're going to do. We're going to evaluate a few things. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to see if we can really help you to get the results you're looking for. We need to be a good match. So if you feel like we might be a good match, but you're not quite sure, get on a call with us. We're going to figure out if we're a good match to help you with your specific cello goals. We want to find out what your actual problems are. So we're going to kind of deep dive into your personal cello playing and the experiences that you're having and how we can help you fix them, if we can help you fix them. And we're also going to see if we're just a good fit to solve your problems. Not everybody is a good fit for us. We're not a good fit for everyone else. So this call will figure out that if we're going to be a good fit to help each other. And we'll figure out too if you're a good fit for us. So the kinds of people, the kinds of cellists that I like to work with and that my substitute teachers like to work with are people who are positive and people who are willing to contribute to a group and people who really understand the power of that mastermind experience. So it's a very powerful experience. It can get you where you want to go much faster than regular lessons, but you have to be willing and open to working in a group environment. So after we kind of figure out those things, we're going to show you what the Cello Yoga Mastermind and Ensemble program will look like for you. It's a little bit different for each person, so I need to talk to you individually to figure that out, and we'll see if you want to be a part of it. So I know what you're thinking, and I think somebody in the chat already asked me, this is going to cost money. Yes, it is going to cost money, but let's talk about that for a moment. So the truth is, there is an investment to join our program. This is a really immersive program. It's really exclusive. We have a ton of value inside this program, and this is something that I dedicate almost all of my time to at the moment. So this is something that's a real passion for me and something I've been working on for a really long time. But the great news about that investment is when we were considering this investment, we took a look at the programs that are out there. And I'll tell you, when I took a look around at like online cello programs, there really aren't very many of them that are anything like what we do in our program. There are some, but they don't offer the same kind of value. So what I asked myself when I was thinking about the value of this program is, how can I offer a premium immersive cello program that gets amazing results for the adult cellists, but at the same time costs them the same as having one private lesson a week? I wanted that to be kind of the framework for our cost, because that's what a lot of adult cellists are doing right now. They're having one private lesson a week, maybe every couple of weeks. And while that can kind of work, you're not getting the support and you're not getting the experience and the guidance that you need. And so therefore, people who have these one-on-one lessons are not progressing as fast as they want to. So you may have asked yourself, I asked myself, how I could offer this once a week lesson cost, but also offer 10 times the value, right? So we do that through our programming, through our community, through the ability to access me daily. And we can talk about these things on the call when we talk. So you might have seen some college programs out there that cost $15K a year, and that is just crazy and insane, especially for you guys in the States. I'm always so shocked and awed by how much everything costs there. I've seen programs like if you go, I don't know, to Berkeley, it's something like 30 grand a year now to go to Berkeley. It's just like wild, just wild. So our program is nowhere close to that. And it's nowhere close to 10K, right? So it's nowhere close to those elite college programs, but we do offer, I believe we do offer the same kind of value as going to one of those programs. So when you book your strategy call, we're going to talk specifics about the cost, because it can be a little bit different for each person depending on where we're at. But you can expect that you're going to be pleasantly surprised by how much flexibility we offer and how much value we offer for the cost of the program. So Cello Yoga Mastermind is all about mastering your skills in a way that's optimal for your adult body and mind. It's all about connecting with other dedicated amateurs in that supportive and non-competitive environment, while at the same time being really rigorous. And it's about nurturing consistent and effective practice routines. It's also about sparking your motivation and passion for your instrument because it's so immersive. It's about overcoming fears to become a more confident performer. It's about exploring the best resources to work through your challenges, improving your improvisation skills, unearthing this beautiful sound that I believe every single one of you cellists can play, no matter how long you've been playing or how little you've been playing. That beautiful sound is accessible to you. And here are some of the people who have already seen results in our program. So if you want to talk to me, I would love to talk to you. If you're on the fence, you're not quite sure, just book a call. Don't feel like you're wasting my time. I love to talk to all cellists. So if you want to talk to me, you can do that by going to cellogo.com. And these people that you see are improving because they didn't let their old habits bring them down. They were willing to take a chance on something new and get that experience. If all of this program was to do for you was to make you more confident, do you think that would be worth it? Who would like to be a more confident cello player? Let's put that in the chat. Do you want to have more confidence in your cello playing? Yes, yes, thumbs up. Of course, yes, 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 please. That's awesome. Yes, I would love, everybody wants to have more confidence, and I can definitely show you the way. Would you like to have better sound? Would you like to sound better? Who wants better sound? Progress is joy, yes. If all this did was allow you to find your unique creative voice and improvise with ease, would it be worth it? Who'd like to learn to improvise? Yeah, better pitch, better intonation. Absolutely, absolutely. So you might be tempted to wait until later to book a call. Maybe you're thinking, oh, I'm kind of busy in my life right now. I don't have the time for this. But here's why you shouldn't wait. So my schedule in the next few days, I only have room for 15 calls in the next 7 days. So you really need to book now. I have a lot of people actually interested in the program. I think we only have about 3 spots before we might have to open up another session. And I'm not sure when that's going to be. So if you want to, or if you're interested, this is the time to book that call. And on top of that, this program has a participant limit. So like I was saying, we only have room. I want to keep this VIP. I don't want like 100 cello players in one room because that's silly, right? So the group experience really optimizes around 20, 25 cellists, at which point we don't want to add any more because that's just a wonderful mastermind. So if you want to get involved, then give us a call. And as a thank you, so these are our thank yous. We're getting to the exciting part of our class today. As a thank you for those of you who stuck around, this is the free guide. All you need to do to get the free guide is to go to cellogo.com/free gift. Don't feel like you have to do that right away though. I'm gonna send out to everybody who came today and who's on the list and was registered for the replay, I'm gonna send out this free gift. So don't feel like you have to go away right now. And our prize draw. So this is how the prize draw is going to work. So the prize draw, if you remember, is for the masterclass series and the cello blanket. So this is what we're going to do. So in order to be entered into the prize draw, you need to type your name right now into the chat and tell us one thing that you learned or enjoyed about our workshop today. So don't worry, we won't use your names if we share these. If we share this in any kind of marketing or anything like that, we won't use names, but just share something that you really liked and type your name in, and then I'm going to be entering all of you into a draw. So do that right now, and I'm going to be saving the chat for later, so I have all of your names. And so we're about to enter a Q&A period. So after the Q&A is over, I'm going to be announcing the winner of our draw inside our Facebook group. So I think many of you are already members, but if you're not, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Play Cello Better with Mind and Body Methods. That's the Facebook group. And I'm going to be announcing the winner there. If you are not a Facebook user, don't worry. Again, I will send out the winner by email later once I have this list of people. Awesome. I learned the advantages of improving. Yes, awesome. You guys are the best. So I'm going to announce this winner by email and in the Facebook group. So don't worry if you're not able to get into Facebook today. So what you can do now, if you like, you can go to cellogo.com to book a free strategy call with me. And if you want to send me a direct email, you can do that at mia@celloyoga.ca. So we have come to the end, but I want to open up the floor now because you guys were such a great group of musicians and you were saying some really cool stuff in the chat. I want to now open this up. I'm just going to let you guys have a moment to put your names in if you're going to be entering the draw. And then if you have any questions for me, let's open this up. If you have a question, you can go ahead and put that inside the chat. Open the chat nice and big, so I can see you all. Okay. And if you haven't entered the draw yet, you can still do that by putting your name in. Okay, so Jerry asks, And I may have to get you guys to do this again if I lose your question. So are you supposed to pinch the cello with your knees when you play? So Jerry, no, you are not supposed to pinch the cello with your knees. So what you do is you rest the cello on your left knee. So your left leg is kind of like a tree trunk. You rest the cello on your left leg. You rest it on your chest at heart level. Your C peg should be next to your ear. And the right leg is free to move. So Jerry, if you want a little bit more help with this and with your posture, feel free to book a call with me and we can go over those specific, I call it the 3 points of posture, how to hold your cello in a way that's really comfortable so you're not pinching. There should never be any feeling of pinching or squeezing in anywhere in your playing. Do you ever talk about a cello setup? Do you mean like how you sit with the cello? Or like how you, or the cello itself? Because setup, yeah, posture, how you play, what you do, the ergonomics, yes, that's all super important. And I go through that step by step. In our program, we go through every single foundation that you need to be properly set up with your instrument, have proper posture, everything, all the foundations, because that's important. For cellists at any level, even if you've been playing for 20 years, often I have cellists who come to me and they need to do some remedial work because the way that they were set up was not correct, right? And it is, or I shouldn't say it wasn't correct, it's not working for them. So you need to have some guidance around how to make your instrument and your body work together. So anybody else have any other questions? Barbary, how often do the group sessions meet? That is great. Great question, Barbary. So I wanted to make sure because part of my, if you remember in the third method, getting together frequently with people is really powerful. So currently we're at 2 sessions a week and we're going to be adding a third once the group gets big enough. And that's going to be happening really soon. So we create that flexibility inside the program. So some of our cellists will come to all of our sessions. Some cellists can only come to 1 or 2. I've created a program so that people in different time zones have different options. So currently we're at 2 sessions a week, but we also have a community that meets daily as well. I noticed you have a posture peg on your cello. Would you recommend that for all? So Anna, yes. So here's the thing about the posture peg. I have it because I keep my cello very close to my neck, and I hate the way that the C peg was digging in. However, for taller people, your C peg, sometimes people C peg is actually behind their head. So the C peg doesn't bother them as much. I would say, though, generally speaking, I would recommend it for most people because it gives you the freedom to move your head. And freedom in movement is something that I find is super important for most cellists to have the least amount of obstacles to playing as possible. So yeah, if you've never tried a posture peg, I very much recommend that you try it for sure. Are the sessions during the day or the evening? So we have sessions at different times to accommodate different schedules and different time zones. So we have a daytime session and we have an evening session. And we will very soon also be adding a morning session. And that's remembering that I'm in Eastern Standard Time. So depending on where you are, those sessions will be a little bit different. Yes, exactly. So yes, so if you were interested in joining, if you're Pacific Time, you're going to want to book a call with me and we'll talk about those times because making sure that the times work for everybody is a good thing. Yes, time zone issues. Yeah. Yeah. So in my time zone, I have 1 afternoon class, 1 evening class, and I'm going to be opening up a morning class for you guys in different time zones. That'll be a little bit further behind or ahead. Yeah. I encourage you, if you have very specific questions about cello yoga and the mastermind itself, I encourage you to book a call, because some of these questions, we need to sort of talk about your personal circumstances. Yeah, the booking page. So the booking page is at cellogo.com. I'll just type it into the chat, cellogo.com. You can go there. Do you work on different types of music together or specialize in different ones? That is a great question, Kevin. So we like to be as diverse as possible because I believe that as a cellist, if you can be if you can have that experience with different genres of music, that's really going to help you to expand your horizons as a musician. It's also the most fun. So we take all kinds of different music. So currently we've been playing a tango. We were playing some Irish music. We've been playing, in the past, we've played some rock music and some pop. We also do the classics, of course, because a lot of people love classical music. We've been working on Baroque Brandenburg Concerto, lots of different stuff. So we really tried to create a variety of music in our ensemble so that people have that choice. Does anyone else have any questions at all? If there's no more questions, what I'll do is I'll just ask you guys if you want to chat with me and you still have something you want to talk about, you can book a call and we can talk that way. I want to thank everybody here for your time and for making this a really, really fun session. I had a great time. And I'm gonna save this chat so I can save all of your names of the people who entered the draw. And I'm going to be putting this inside our Facebook group later so we can see who won. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. This was a wonderful experience. All right, Carl, I'll talk to you soon. You're welcome. You're welcome, Kevin. Thank you. Bye, Michael. Bye, Peggy. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.